So I'm Brandy Marsky. This is day 4 of the 100-Day Project. And I want to talk a little bit about Wild Dream Wednesday, which is something new that I started in my personal newsletter called Wild Dream Wonderland. It's off Substack. But I wanted to kind of bring the same energy and the same inspiration and the same vibe to my Substack in a very different way, in a way that I hope for folks who are on in the Wild Dream Wonderland newsletter, that you can come into Substack, and what you find here is a beautiful reiteration and further inspiration of the message that I sent to you via email. So before I got on, so I live, little quick backstory. I live in the country. I live in the hill country on my ancestral lands known as Wimberley, Texas. And there is a lot of wildlife here. I live on the the beginning of the incline of Mount Baldy, which is a really big historical marker here in Wimberley. And there's so much wildlife that happens. And before I came on, like literally before I hit go live, a fox that I actually thought was a coyote because it was so big ran on our stonemason little wall right in front of my window, from behind. So let me flip you over. So this is my view. I mean, obviously, this is the top of our house, but this is the view. And you can't really see it. I'm going to try to show you. So you see this little stone. You see my right there. The fox ran right through there. And so that felt like a really big portal, especially since it happened before I came on live, of medicine that wanted to be shared with you. And so I wanted to kind of take you in a little bit behind the scenes of how I use animal medicine and the new moon and magical elements in my creative writing path and a couple of other things. So I wanted to share, this is from Ted Andrews' Animal Speak. This is one of my favorite books on animals. He spent a really long time not just studying, but in communication with animals. And I have deep respect and admiration for that, because that's something that I would really love to do. But I obviously don't want to do it enough because I haven't made time for it. But communing with animals, I mean, I do it on a daily basis, but to the level in which he mastered it, not quite there yet. I'm working on it. So I wanted to share a little bit about Fox. So you can take this into the closing cycle of this Aquarius new moon, or take it into the Pisces new moon that's happening tomorrow. Your choice. It's just here presented to you as fodder for whatever wishes to come forth. So the keynote about Fox is feminine magic of camouflage, shape shifting, and invisibility. The cycle of power is nocturnal, dawn, and dusk. So I'm going to read a little bit of the highlights that I have. Fox speaks of the need to develop or the awakening of camouflage, invisibility, and shape shifting. There are 21 species of fox, and note that card number 21 in the tarot deck is the world, which is ruled by Saturn. So that's a really beautiful correlation there to maybe dig into on your own time and in a journal. So this is about fox still, working to blend in with the surroundings, to come and go unnoticed, moving slightly about without revealing your intentions, is all part of what Fox teaches. Much of this is reflected in learning to control the aura, the energy field around your body. You can adjust its frequency and intensity so that you harmonize more with others. You can focus on changing its appearance so that you blend in. Practice by standing against a wall and see yourself and your aura becoming the color of the wall. just as if you were fading into it. If a change is needed on certain levels, learning to change the hair to reflect the change desired helps to activate Fox energy so that shape shifting can begin. Fox is literally probably one of the longest entries in this book. There are a few other bird ones that have a lot, but Fox really has a very long description about it. And here's one last thing about it. With the fox, it is the undercoat, which is the primal energy source from which an individual draws his, her, their abilities. The outer layer protects and defines how that energy is being used by the individual. So I wanted to share that since Fox was present before I joined or opened up this live. I wanted to share an insight into how I work with ideas that come through when I'm in the middle of a project so that I don't get like swept away with it, right? One of the common qualms that a lot of creatives and writers and folks who are in the maker field have is they're deep in a project and then all of a sudden they feel like this ping and it's another bolt of inspiration and they want to follow it because they don't want to lose it. And so through the years and the decades of being a creative and being an author, I have found one way to keep myself in, to honor both, to honor the focus that I need to have for the project at hand that I'm working on, but also honoring the download, the inspiration that came through and not wanting to lose that. So I have created a little notebook and it's called my Light Rabbits notebook. I call it the Book of Light Rabbits. And a light rabbit is that ping, it's a inkling, it's the things that spark our curiosity or a download that comes through that we want to follow down the rabbit hole, right? It's like Alice in Wonderland's white rabbit going down the rabbit hole. She enters into Wonderland. Light rabbits are that same thing, that if we follow that light rabbit down its little rabbit hole, we're going to enter into a whole new portal of our creativity, of our expansion of what we came here to do. And so I don't want to lose that. And so what I've learned to do is track them and capture them in a notebook of light rabbits. So that way, whenever I'm at a point where I want to create something or I need to return back to that idea, it's right here. So like in this, I have a list of books I want to write, but I've kept this notebook since, and it's been a couple of notebooks, but this one I think started in 2022. And it's literally just full of all the ideas that I have that I eventually want to bring into fruition. And so this was one of the things that wanted to be shared today, is honoring the project at hand, but also honoring the downloads come in. This is how I do it without getting sidetracked or getting out of alignment with the project that I'm working on. And the other thing that I felt called to share with you was every morning. So one of my opening wake up rituals is that I love to do journaling, of course, but then I love to open up with words of people that I find poetic and inspiring, and that through these simple passages really invoke a desire in me to show up in the fullness of my potential and my possibility. And one of the books says Mark Nepo's The Book of Awakening. And I've stopped and started this book many, many times, and I'm sure some of us, some of you might have. I actually started it in 2021. I bought it at a B&N 50% off closing store. Barnes & Noble was closing one of their stores in Dallas, and I picked it up then, and I didn't go through it, but I picked it up seriously last year in October, of actually a couple weeks before I got my cancer diagnosis, which was super interesting and curious because Mark Nepo also went through a major cancer journey. And so it was almost like my intuition was pulling me towards his work weeks before I got my diagnosis as a support, as someone, whose work wanted to walk with me through that journey. And really, honestly, whose work got me through a lot of that process. His collection of poems in a book called Surviving Made Me Crazy was the book of poems that I read every single day of between finding out I was diagnosed with cancer and then being cancer free. Like that book of poetry was the North Star as I navigated that terrain. And so I really started going deep with this book last year. And so I decided to continue doing that in 2025. And I'm reading it and picking it up every day. And today, when I was reading it, I thought of y'all because I am currently my mantra, and one of the things that I'm working and living into is slowing down time. Like, I want to slow down time. It's part of what I'm working on as a witch. It's part of what I'm working on as a evolving spiritual being and human, is this idea and process of slowing down time. And he has a really beautiful passage today that I wanted to share with you in the spirit of Wild Dream Wednesday, which is just like of being a vat and beacon of inspiration for you to hopefully like spark some kind of movement, idea, energy, thought, project, sentence, something to spur your creativity or your creative project forward. So this is for February 26th, and which is today. And it's called At the Pace of What is Real. Like most people I know, I struggle with taking too much on, with doing too many things, with moving too fast, with overcommitting and overplanning. I've learned that I must move, quite simply, at the pace of what is real. While this pace may vary, life always seems vacant and diminished when I accelerate beyond my capacity to feel what is before me. It seems we run our lives like trains, speeding along a track laid down by others, going so fast that what we pass blurs on by. Then we say, we've been there, we've done that. The truth is that by something, the truth is that blurring by something is not the same as experiencing it. So, no matter how many wonderful opportunities come my way, no matter the importance placed on these things by others who have my best interest at heart, I must somehow find a way to slow down the train that is me until what I pass by is again seeable, touchable, feelable. Otherwise, I will pass by everything. I can put it all on my resume, but will have experienced and lived through nothing. And so I'm carrying that message with me of being present and feeling and sensing and slowing down time today, and especially because my parents are coming into town and I'm so excited that I get to hug their neck. I'm so grateful that they're alive and here still with me in this physical form. And I wanted to share that message of slowing down and living at the pace of what is real with you. Like that just felt really potent, living at the pace of what is real. So I hope that that little peep into my creative flow and how I work was super helpful. I also wanted to share one more thing. Today is the last day of the Aquarius new moon cycle, and I have created like a little mini short about how I work through and work with the closing energies of every moon cycle. So I'm going to share that in the description comments, the little Substack thing below, along with links to the books in case you want to check them out that I shared. And then I did that today. I closed out Aquarius so that then I can welcome in Pisces, the new moon in Pisces next tomorrow. So I hope that that is helpful in sparking something in you. So I love y'all, and I will see you tomorrow in Lakesh.